All right, so we have a question. 7.5 grams of copper 2 oxide is
It is
mixed with
7.95.
a solution containing 7.35 grams of sulfuric acid. The equation is CuO, it's a solid, plus H2SO4, H2SO4, and that produces CuSO4 plus H2O. Alright, so the question is, determine which is the limiting reactant. Alright, so the question is, determine which is the limiting reactant. Alright, so first, we have, so here, we have, so this one is 7.95. And here we have 7.35. 7.35 grams. This is in grams. So I won't put grams. G meaning in grams. Now, can you see 1 mole will react with 1 mole of this? So 1 mole of Cu, this is based on the equation. 1 mole of CO will react with 1 mole of H2SO4. Okay, so let's work out how many moles there are first. Okay, so Cu is, what is Cu? Cu is 63.5, and oxygen is 16. So 1 mole of CuO is 79.5 grams, right? So the molar mass, molar this time, not molecular mass, because in the previous videos I've been talking about molecular mass, but I was incorrect. It's molar mass. So molar mass of CuO is 79.5 grams per mole. Now, because of the ratio is 1 to 1, oh, hold on. Wait. Okay, so the molar mass is that, right? So the molar mass of copper oxide is that, but we know that is the number of grams. So we have, can we see it's a tenth? It's a tenth of the mole, tenth, and tenth is 0.1. So can we see we have 0.1 moles of CO? So 0. And that would mean that would mean if you were to look at this one here, because the ratio is 1 to 1, that will mean that 0.1 moles is that or produced. So 0.1 mole of CuSO4 will be made. Okay, so that will be made. Now let's work out the molar mass of H2SO4. So we know H is 1, S is 32, O is 16. So we have 2 plus 32 plus 64. And that is equal to, so that's 34, so that's 98. Now, because we've got 7.35 grams, 7.35 grams, 7.35 grams there, 7.35 grams. So 7.35 grams. We want to work out how many moles there are. So we have, so 98 grams is 1 mole. 1 mole of this. So we need to do 7.35 divided by 98. That will give you the number of moles, and so therefore that should give you 0.075 moles. So what we're saying is that we have 0.1 moles of CuO, and we have 0.075 moles of H2SO4. And the question is asking what is the limiting reactant? Now the limiting reactant means that everything will be used up. So if 1 mole reacts with 1 mole of, based on this equation, right? Based on this equation, 1 mole of that will react with 1 mole of this because of this equation at the top, but can you see that we have less of this? So the limiting reaction is this. So the limiting reactant is H2SO4. Okay, yeah. So the sulfuric acid. So the sulfuric acid is limiting.
Alright, so let me read through this question again. So you have 7.95 grams of copper 2 oxide. It is mixed with a solution containing 7.35 grams of sulfuric acid. The equation for this reaction is as follows. So you've got 1 mole of CuO as a solid plus 1 mole of H2SO4 aqueous. That produces 1 mole of CuSO4 aqueous plus 1 mole of water liquid. Determine the limiting reactant. So can you see that from the equation, 1 mole of CuO will react with 1 mole of H2SO4. Now let's find the number of moles of copper 2 oxide in the question. So in the question we have 7.95 grams. So let's work out what 1 mole of copper oxide is. You know that copper is 63.5, oxygen is 16. Add them up, you have 1 mole of CuO is 79.5 grams. So 1 mole of CuO is 79.5 grams. And in the question you have 7.95. So can you see that it is a tenth? It is a tenth of a mole. Tenth of a mole of copper oxide. So now that we have 0.1 moles of copper oxide, we're going to multiply everything by 0.1. So we're going to multiply let me find. So we're going to multiply. We're going to multiply everything by 0.1. So here we're going to multiply every term by 0.1, and you can see that's how we got this green numbers in front of the. So here we have everything in green, yeah. So everything is multiplied by 0.1. So this is just the same equation as above, but we just multiply every term by 0.1. So can you see now we have 0.1 moles of CuO must react with 0.1 moles of H2SO4 to make 0.1 moles of CuSO4 and 0.1 moles of H2O. Now, if we use 0.1 moles of CuO, that means 0.1 moles of CuSO4 is made. Now let's calculate the number of moles of H2SO4. So what is the molar mass of H2SO4? So you know hydrogen is 1, you know sulfur is 32, and you know oxygen is 16. Add all of them up, you've got 4 oxygens and 2 hydrogens. Altogether you have 98 grams per mole, and you know that you have, in a question, 7.35 grams of sulfuric acid. So you do 7.35 divided by 98 moles, you have 0.07 moles. Now can you see that 0.07 moles here is less than 0.1? So because it's less, that means all of this will be used up in the reaction, because you know that 0.1 moles must react with 0.1 moles of H2SO4. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. But because you have less than 0.1 moles, you have 0.075 moles of sulfuric acid. This is the limiting reactant because all of that is used up. All of that is used up.